Good morning and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or one of the 50% of the people watching this that have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the debate and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1. Please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. In a moment, I'm going to transition across to a piece of music made by Shill Scanner called This Spinning Globe Lie, and I'm going to share the show on social media. I would also encourage anybody who is in the live stream at the moment to please also do the same. So with that, I'll say once more, if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate.
It immediately was a eureka moment. 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 NASA were developed for the sole purpose of lying to us. Their only purpose is to perpetuate the globe lie. Every single story that is told by NASA has the subcontext that we live on a globe. NASA were developed for the sole purpose of lying to us. Their only purpose is to perpetuate the globe lie. Every single story that is told by NASA has the subcontext that we live on a globe. The way they're faking things is with top of the line, absolutely cutting edge studio techniques like were used in the film Gravity. So they're using trapeze, they're on high wires in order to fake us for as long as humanly possible. This mean, this lie, this spinning globe lie. 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 Mean, this lie, this spinning globe lie. This mean, this lie, this spinning globe lie. We are in an enclosed system, therefore we're it. Keep it nice and simple. Is that the right word? Being spherical? Sphericity? Is that the right word? Being spherical? Sphericity? Is that the right word? Being spherical? sphericity, is that the right word? Being spherical. This mean, this lie, this spinning globe lie. 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 This mean, this lie, this spinning globe lie.
So I've just shared the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and once again I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience to please also share the show on social media. I am hugely grateful to everybody who shares these live shows, so hit that share button and stick it on your Facebook tweet or your Fitter or whatever you call it these days. Once again, if you are new to the channel or you're one of the 50% of the people who are watching this but are not subscribed, click that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to join the panel, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link in the info box below the video to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. As I say, there are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And number two, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photographs. You may hear from me once more with pretty much exactly the same information. If not, you'll hear from me to introduce our first guest. I'll do a few shout outs. I have said hello to everybody in the chat so far, with a couple of exceptions. So, Agent Detective, very good to have you here. Pleased to see you. Yes, well, I'll go back to the camera as it's all lined up working. So, yeah, Agent Detective and Physics Warrior, hello, pleased to have you here. Victor, nice to see you. A new one, I think. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, unless you've been flying by at 100 miles an hour with everyone else on the shows that get 100 plus viewers. Flat Earth Hippie Chick, very pleased to see you. Thanks for being in the live stream. Be sure to share the show. Everett Anderson, very nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Probably hear my kid crashing around in the background. Fanny Lancer, proud sponsor of this show. Good to have you here, my friend. Thank you for being here. Charlotte, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. JJ, good morning to you as well, my friend. So once again, you may hear from me to introduce our first guest. If not, I'll come back in around 5 or 10 minutes time to run through my plugs and hopefully invite somebody to join from the live audience. It would be brilliant if one of you could actually just click on the link and make sure it does work. I'll double check it is there while the photos are up. Is that JJ? I recognise the icon. Hopefully you're just here to check that the stream works. Could you say a quick hello just to check everything works and your sound goes out to the audience?
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being here. Awesome. We have a live working feed. Marvellous. Jamie Woodstock, good to see you. Is Woodstock? Yes, it is. It does work, JJ. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. What did you think of Shill Scanner's music video? For those of you who are here early to see it play out live. Been joined by Physics Warrior. How you doing?
Good morning, Nathan.
Very good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good.
Excellent.
I just came in and just sent some pics in the Hangout. Just wondering if you've seen it.
Say that again.
You see it?
Oh, you just wanted to check the Hangout works?
Yeah, I just sent it in there if it works, and I'm also trying to figure out how to put stuff on into my so I can show stuff too as well, just like you guys.
Yeah, all working. JJ popped in a moment ago, so I'd figured out that it worked. So when you asked, it didn't occur to me that you were trying to get in while he was getting in. So yes, brilliant, all working. You do normally have a bit to say. If you want to, you've got the mic. The mic's all yours. If you want to spout your rhetoric, you're free to.
Oh no, I'm coming right back. I just thought to test everything out because it's impeccable timing. Usually when you come on, I'm getting ready to go to Dunkin' Donuts and get coffee.
Sod's law.
But yeah, I definitely want to come back, and hopefully the same crew that was in yesterday, Mark, even Miles Davis. Hopefully it does come back, and yeah, it's a little bit kind of iffy on his equation. So I definitely like to make some kind of opinions with that as well. But yeah, I'm gonna jump out for a bit, and then my car is pretty much warmed up. But I'll definitely be back, Nathan.
Cool. Thanks for checking the link. Hopefully we'll see you later. It was good yesterday. Really, really good fun.
Thank you. Thank you. 15, 20 minutes. I'll be back. Bye.
See you later. As there's no one here, I could continue to shout out the chat. No reason why not. If there's anybody else has joined, that is. So, Chess, very pleased to have you here. Good to see you, my friend. That Reginald Taint? Reginald Taint. Very pleased to have you here. Bipolar Troll, aka Fake Tim Osman. However that works. Good to have you here. Thanks for being here. Rune Thorson, pleased to see you here. And Joven Trendmaker, a regular. Good to see you also, Joven. Thank you for being here. Please share the show. Hit that super chat. I know you do often. Prove some of the spam messages that are getting auto checked by Google. I think that's it. I've scrolled to the top of the chat now, so I'll run through my links one more time as I do have the camera on me. So, if you are new to this channel, or you are one of the 50% of the people watching this stream that are not subscribed already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you can keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so toss me a couple of bucks if you're liking the show. And most importantly, if you would like to join the stream, there is a link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute the page you are currently watching, but then click on that link in the info box below this video to join the show and express your views. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please don't try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media, and with that I'll hope that this will be the last time I plug the show, and the next time you see me it will be to give you an introduction to our first guest. Share the show. Lottie says, pleased to see you. Steve Anthony, good to see you. Shill Scanner, pleased to see you. Played your video at the beginning of this stream. Excellent that it is. Roger, very pleased to have you here. What's that you say, Eleanor? What's that? Yes, they all should subscribe. Yes, they should. Pardon? The bell? Yes, they should hit the bell as well, that's right. You're a very good helper. Yes, the bell. So they keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Ah, brilliant. Somebody who can spark somebody else to be triggered. Make 4 says, so, did we figure out gravity yet? Question mark. Well, no one's here, so I may as well chit-chat with the chat. What do you guys think of the debate shows then? 50 odd of them so far. Are you all enjoying them? I assume so, just going by the number of people that are watching them. Man, you must be desperate for booby. My kid's just literally tore a breast pump out of its box. Currently weaning our child. Right, let's have a look at the chat, see if anybody's responded. They're not debates. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. I mean, it's debate in name only, isn't it, Roger? Loosely accurate. Yeah, it's more like a flat Earth / globe Earth sparring match, isn't it? As opposed to a civilised debate. But, you know, not everyone on YouTube is a public schoolboy. I love flat Earth, says Bipolar Troll. Well, doesn't really answer my question, but fair enough. Make 4? For sure, I'll be in soon. Oh, awesome. That's good to know. You've been a reasonably active participant, Make 4, and you're on the fence, as I understand it, and it's a good position to be in. Tends not to get people's backs up, although some of the questions you ask do get people's backs up, and you're only asking reasonable questions, and that tends to be the case more so on the globe side. Somebody who's impartial / on the fence / flat earther asks a globe earther what seems like a reasonable question, they normally get pretty angry. And that's certainly what I saw with you yesterday, or last night, for me. This may help, Nathan, pointing at a bottle. She's like 16 months old now, so she doesn't need milk. She's not, like, desperate in need of it. Yes, she's got teeth. She eats food. So she eats plenty. In fact, she doesn't stop eating, but she's just, you know, comfort thing, isn't it? For a certain point. Pretty much the same gag that Upside Down Ed Head made when he stuck a super chat donation in. Like, get your baby some bottled milk. It's like, no. It's never a dull moment, says Flat Earth Hippie Chick. Yeah, I enjoy doing them. It'd be good if I didn't have to e-beg and they actually had decent adverts put on them and they weren't all demonetised, but unfortunately they do. And e-begging is the only way for me to actually keep my time monetised. And yeah, I have to monetise my time, regardless if anyone says. I don't care. It's just a fact of life. I love my turtle, says Physics Warrior. Lottie says no, it's flat earthers being idiots and normal people pointing out why they're idiots. And then a number 53. Don't know what that is. Did I get a shout out, says Bipolar Troll? Yes, you did get a shout out. Captain Bullshit says, you're full of shit, Nathan. Thanks, Captain Bullshit. I think there's a bit of projection going on there. Steve Anthony says, yeah, man. Just asking questions, man. Nothing wrong with asking questions. E-begging, laughing my ass off, says Joven Trendmaker. Yeah, it is e-begging. I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm absolutely and totally conscious of what I'm doing. I'm literally asking people to give me money in the super chat. So I'm not unaware of what I'm doing. But yeah, it's one of those. It got to number 10 and they were all being demonetised, literally, without exception. And it was frustrating because I do these shows and I do want them to be monetised. I do want them to make money. and they weren't. So it's like, okay, well, let's give up on them then. And a couple of people said, yeah, just give up, 10's plenty. And a couple of people said, no, I really enjoyed those, keep doing them. And I said, well, I think I said it on one of the shows, actually. It was probably on show 8 or 9. I explained to the panel, I was like, it was on the backup channel. And I said, you know, these videos, they're just not getting monetized. It's just not worth my time. You know, I can just do a couple of interviews. And that will suffice in terms of, you know, developing a bit of income and still keeping me entertained and keeping me happy and all the rest of those things that you want out of doing anything like this. It's a hobby at the end of the day, but like anybody savvy, you want your time to make money, even if you enjoy what you do. So I explained to the panel, I was like, you know, when it comes to me putting this on the main channel, if I do, I'm going to be e-begging, so don't give me any shit about it. And they all went, yeah, fair enough, I understand. Because they've been through it, you know, most of them had been on all 10 shows, or at that time it was like 8 or 9 shows. Aha, we've got our first guest, I can finally shut up. How you doing, mate 4? Can you hear me? He can hear me, it's just what he's like out. Hello!
Hey. I'm just sort of a little bit doing some stuff now. I just came in to sit here and keep you company.
No worries. Yeah, I think you did it last time. I think you are. I am right in saying you're like agnostic or whatever you want to call it, on the fence. And from memory, you came in last time and sort of sat around until there was some questions to be asked.
Yeah, man. Can't we just ask questions, dude?
Yeah, I love Steve. Good stuff then. Ah, perfect. Been joined by someone else I can genuinely go on mute. We've been joined by Sleeping Warrior. How you doing?
Good morning. How are we?
Mighty fine. Pretty good.
I didn't catch up with the conclusion of whether or not the rotation of the Earth was explained in relation to moving bodies of water and pooling at the equator. I know Curved came in last night, but it got loud and there was a lot of people on the hangout, and I don't know if it got concluded, but did heliocentricity priests give an explanation for why water doesn't pool at the equator?
Did you say heliocent priests?
Heliocentric priests.
Heliocentric priests. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Curved water.
I don't think they did, but can you turn your camera off just so we get your icon when you speak?
Oh, sorry. There you go.
There we go. Cool. Right, I'm gonna go on mute because I've been on, what's the word? A rant, a waffle, a jibber jabber. So you've got the mic. Whoever wants to speak.
Well, obviously, Make 4 was in yesterday when we were chatting. I'll just play the most poignant clip of the whole thing of yesterday, and it wasn't even something I said. It was something that Physex said. And if he comes in, if you're out there, Physex, come in, because I'd love to have an explanation. Because I missed it when you said it at the time. I kind of laughed at it and glossed over it. But I'll just play the clip. Thank you. It's only like 10 seconds worth. I'll have to find it first, though. Bear with me. Let me X drive. There we go.
While you're sorting that out, we have been joined by Curved Water. So I'm off mute, Anna. Yeah, we've been very pleased to have you, Curved.
Thanks.
All right, so this was the one clip that was in my opinion, it was the most interesting comment of the whole debate yesterday. So I'll just play it now. Am I going to need to channel this through my mic, or will it come through system sounds?
Don't know. Try. I'll let you know if it doesn't.
Was that dead quiet?
No, you can't hear it. You'll have to go through your mic, but it sounds fine through your mic.
This is when I was just about to show the Faraday's disc, not as a proof of anything, just to show that it could be done, and that the moon may well be metallic and sat there on a levitated position caused by extreme power. But this is what I said, and then listen to his words. I don't know whether should I present this to show you it, because I don't know how many people have actually seen this, and most people that
yeah, that's fine, Riley. You're exposing free energy.
Did you hear that? I don't know whether should I present this to show you it, because I don't know how many people have actually seen this, and most people that
yeah, that's fine, Riley. You're exposing free energy.
That's fine, Riley, but you're exposing free energy. When I went back to listen to bits and pieces, That was the most interesting comment of the whole debate.
What were we actually talking about at that point?
Let me just turn that back down a little bit. I was just about to demonstrate the Faraday's disc. The point I was making was that the energy's got to come from somewhere to feed the core, the temperature of the core, according to the model. And I was just about to show the Faraday's disc. Do you remember the solid disc that was levitating with the candlelight on the top and it was all lit up? I was just about to show that, and his comment was, "That's all right, Riley, but you're exposing free energy." And I thought, I didn't notice it at the time. And now looking back on it, it's like, ooh, that's an interesting statement. It's very, not cryptic, but it's very kind of, it's disingenuous, really, because it indicates that he knows more about this topic than what he lets on. Just my thoughts on it post hangout. But whilst Curve's in there, welcome, Curved. Did you have an explanation for the non-pooling of water on the equator?
What non-pooling?
Well, the equator is one of the driest areas in the whole world, and according to the law of centrifuge, moving bodies of water would pool at the equator if the Earth was spinning. Doesn't seem to.
Are you saying the ocean should cover like the equator all through Africa because of this? What are you getting at? I'd like for you to make a point so I know what you're saying.
It means there'd be a larger mass of water near the equator that would be moved there from the centrifugal forces.
Yeah, centrifugal forces would pool all the water at the equator, and it doesn't do it.
Oh, okay. So you know it doesn't.
Well, shouldn't it be a whole
thought?
If you look at any map.
Can you stop screen sharing?
Sorry.
Is your defense to that it's just relativity?
No, it'd be gravity, wouldn't it?
I don't have a defense to something that is just nothing more than an uninformed question.
Well, it's not uninformed. Sorry. Let me come back to you. I'm just having some.
You're the one. I know, but you're on the attack here. What is it that you're actually saying?
I'm not on the attack. I'm asking, why does the water not pool?
Okay, well, how do you know it does or doesn't? I don't know what it does.
Centrifugal force. That's
no, Riley. The water.
Yeah, centrifugal force. The water.
What do you know about sea level near the equator versus the rest of the globe?
Well, I know that there's
more pool any.
I know that there's more land. Well, put it this way: if Neil deGrasse Tyson describes the Earth as a little chubbier in the bottom half, pear-shaped, if you will.
So what?
Hang on. If that's how Neil deGrasse Tyson describes the Earth, a little chubbier at the bottom, pear-shaped, if you will, then that is define the laws of centrifugal force. Because if anything, it would be oblate at the equator. It wouldn't be oblate at the bottom half, because that would indicate that there's some other shape to the Earth. So either Neil deGrasse Tyson's comment about being a little chubbier at the bottom must be wrong, or something else is happening, because we should be seeing water pooling at the equator, and we don't. We see it pooling at the poles, or the apparent poles. It seems to be a lot more water in the Antarctic Ocean and the upper part of the northern hemisphere, the upper part of the Arctic Circle. There's a lot more water at the poles.
But I don't know how to politely respond to that.
Could you just explain why it doesn't seem to apply? It doesn't seem to conform to the centrifugal force. That's all. It's not an attack. It's merely a question.
How much force? How much pooling do you expect from this centrifugal force?
Well, we rotate at 15 degrees an hour. That movement is directly connected to the Earth. The water.
I didn't ask you that. I'm asking for an answer.
I'm answering you.
How much force?
Do you understand the laws of inertia?
Do you understand the question? How much force?
Well, if we compare it to gravity as a force.
So you don't know.
Well, there's enough force to move it because it's the laws of inertia.
No, you're making the accusation that there should be some, and you don't even know how much or even really why.
So based on my ignorance, you're going to claim victory against applying the laws of centrifuge.
Based on your ignorance, I'm going to claim you're ignorant and derping. Yes. Give me some evidence. Give me some reason behind what you're saying other than, well, I heard this, so I think this, and I don't know. I don't think it's there. So heliocentric priest.
Let's do this then.
Dun 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 dun.
Let's do it. Centrifugal force. A force arising from a body's inertia, which appears to act on a body moving in a circular path and is directed away from the center around which the body is moving. That's a definition. We could spend all day on the definitions. If you're asking me for,
I didn't ask you for a definition. I asked you for how much freaking force, Riley.
But you want the
You're expecting a certain outcome here, and you don't know how much or why.
I know that there should be a centrifugal force being applied, and I know that there doesn't appear to be any evidence of it. I can't quantify it because I'm not.
How much force?
The acceleration required to keep an object on a circular path is W2R. So I'd need to know the rotation speed, which is 15 degrees an hour, but is that the right speed? Do you really want me to start going through the process of trying to calculate the force required to demonstrate my point when you understand it clearly?
No, you know what I want? I want you to find out how much, if you're going to make the charge here, I want you to know how much force there is and see if your question even makes sense, really. Yeah, water pooling at the poles. Oh my God.
Hey, Curved. How you going, bro? You having some good time?
Sea level.
Sea level? I just said, how you going, mate?
I'm doing okay. Hey, I saw a comment of yours going outside to look and see if you can see the stars moving.
Yep.
Was that a joke?
No. Why would I joke?
I don't know, but I'm hoping it was. You're not going to like stand there and expect to see star trails form before your eyes over.
I mean, like, right? I want to see the constellations shift. That's just a little bit, just like a mil or two.
What do you mean shift?
Just they're all traveling places, aren't they? Those stars out there.
Do they rotate around the pole?
Do they go around the Milky Way the same exact direction and speed and never change and always stay in that awesome formation? I don't know. I feel like they should move more, and Andromeda especially. Isn't that like?
Okay.
It's okay.
You feel like they should move more? Well, I hope you get your feels.
Hope I get my what?
Your feels.
My feels.
Yep. You feel like they should move, but you know your wish. Hope you get your wish. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, people just coming up with a whole bunch of, well, I don't understand this and that. So you're wrong. And all of this crap, I mean, this is pretty simple. Do the stars move around the pole or not? Clear. If you go outside, watch them over time. Do a time lapse. Watch it happen. I told you why the stars move west to east below the pole, down near your horizon. They're in an arc. But
yeah,
east west is relative in this situation here when you're dealing with the rotation around poles. I have the same thing in the north. When they're moving in a circular pattern like that around the pole, mine are counterclockwise. So the lower portion is like moving kind of east-west or west to east, and the top is moving east to west because they move counterclockwise. It's like take a clock and look at it.
Well,
you know,
I've seen
from 9 to 3, the minute hand is kind of moving up, but it's also moving left to right. But from 3 to 9, the minute hand's moving down and then right to left, up, that, you know, to 9. So these terms, people can get all confused with them. That's why it's best to stick with clockwise, counterclockwise when it comes to, you know, describing the rotation around the poles. Now, to be sure, somebody standing on the equator, the stars that, you know, rise east pass directly overhead, set west. You know, is the sky moving left or right, or is the sky moving right to left? That depends on, are you facing north or south? The sphere is moving the same way. The sky is moving the same direction. And
Should
it's
be.
really clockwise or counterclockwise, depending upon which pole you're looking at. You turning around is not affecting which direction the stars
Yeah, I
are
know.
moving. You're not reversing the movement. You're changing the way that you have to describe it because of its relative orientation.
So I'm facing south, and the stars, the stars down here, I've seen them move from west to east, the opposite way.
Did you
What's
hear
up with that?
anything I just said?
You're trying to tell me that I'm looking over my pole or something?
No, I'm trying to tell you that the stars that you're talking about moving generally west to east, when you're facing south, that's like during the time that they're from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. If you're looking at the pole as the center of the clock, they're moving down
But they
towards
shouldn't be
6
moving
and
down
then
like
up
that.
towards 9 as they're moving clockwise, like
if we
the
have
head
something
of a
like
clock, like I just described to you.
if we have something like Polaris in the top north, then we should have something like a southern star, which is roughly the same. Or if it's not exactly on center point, then it would be a couple of stars doing little circles down the bottom there somewhere.
Why?
Why would it not be? If we have it, if it'd just be the way that we're rotating on our axis, you would have a top point of rotating stars.
You
and
realize
probably
Polaris moves, right? Polaris is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
always in the same position over time, over long periods of time. I mean, Polaris is
But
moving
the
in the sky because of the change in the axial tilt, the precession.
I understand that. See, but
Okay, well, if you
the actual-
understand that, are there blank spots in the sky when you look at it, or is there a star at every point?
you're very good at going off topic.
No, this is right on topic. Are there
He's
blank
very good at
spots
talking
in the
about blank
sky?
space in the sky
If
now.
the pole is pointing at a blank spot in the sky, then
It'll
guess
rotate.
what? There's
You're not
no
gonna
pole
notice
star right there at the pole, is there?
That's what I just said. So there'd be a
No.
whatever the closest nearest
You're
star
telling me
is.
there should be a pole. There should be a star by the pole.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Yes, but
way
you
that
did
they're-
say that.
Sorry
But
to
you
interrupt
did
you
say
two.
that.
I know you're going on a back and forth, but we've just been joined by a very new guest. So, Star, what was the end bit of it? Star Binary. Pleased to have you here. Can you say a quick hello? If you're on a mobile, you need to tap the screen to unmute. If you're on a... Oh, you just literally joined to give me that link. Fair enough.
Hello, what was that?
Somebody from the chat basically said, please can you share this link? And I was like, if you want to share a link, join. Now, I can understand that people don't necessarily want to join and talk, but as that person literally did exactly as I asked, it's fair enough. I'll share the link and, you know, it's on screen now if you want to read it. I'll scroll through. Other than that, if you're not interested in whatever this to do with the MiG-29 in Russia is, carry on debating and the audience can read it if they will.
It goes very high, you know. This plane is my favorite plane, okay? I tell you many stories about this plane. Actually, no. But where is that guy? That Russian guy? Kind of like him.
Shill Scanner, he made the music video that I played at the beginning of this.
All right, I've got. Are you playing this, Nick? Nick? I don't know why I said Nick. Nath, are you playing this, or can I come back to Curved?
You can carry on. It's just an article, so I'm just going to scroll down so that it's on screen for people to read in the feed. You can or can't. You don't have to read it. Just carry on as you were.
Okay. Well, well, just let me know when you're done with it, because I just want to show Curve the contradiction that Neil deGrasse Tyson makes in relation to what we're told it is, and now that I've got the calculations for it, and I'm going to show the contradiction, I'm going to ask Curved if he's any better than Neil deGrasse Tyson in explaining the shape of the Earth in relation to the centrifugal forces applied on the waters of the Earth. So I'm sharing now. Okay, so Curved, You asked me to go away and calculate the centrifugal force. I've found a centrifugal force calculator and I've put in the values that's required, and it gives me a figure that neither of us understand. It doesn't help us. So what I've then done is I've gone to read about the equatorial bulge.
What's the centrifugal acceleration?
0.00338678 G.
All right. How much effect should that have?
Well, it means nothing to either of us, let's be honest.
How much effect should that have?
I don't know. I'm asking you these questions.
You get into the post.
So let me ask it in a way that we can both understand, because neither of us are going to be able to go through.
I know. You're asserting that there should be X effect, a certain amount of effect from a force that you don't even understand the quantity of.
So then I can go on to
you see the problem, right?
Understand.
You see the problem.
No, here's the problem.
Look, a person should weigh more if there's a cricket on top of their head. Why would you deny such a thing?
Let me finish. Let me make my point, and then you can come back to me with why it's rubbish. Okay?
You don't have a point.
No, I do, but I'm not.
No, you already don't have a point.
Distracting and just pulling the conversation away from what I'm trying to say.
Say what you want, but you don't have a point. Call it something else, to be honest.
An equatorial bulge, according to Wikipedia, an equatorial bulge is the difference between equatorial and polar diameters of a planet due to the forces exerted by its rotation. A rotating body tends to form an oblate spheroid. Well, we've heard of that before, Neil deGrasse, rather than a sphere. The Earth has an equatorial bulge of two figures. That is its diameter measured across the equatorial plane. An observer standing at sea level on either pole is therefore 21.36 kilometers closer to the Earth's center point than if standing at the sea level on the equator. So it's indicating...
Massive shout out to Shill Scanner, who says super share so Nathan can buy a motorbike. Thanks.
21.36 kilometers. That's quite a lot of bulge by anyone's calculations. I know the Earth's massive and we can't detect the curvature, etc. But 21 kilometers worth of bulge. Okay.
Compared to the radius.
At the pole where there's not 21 kilometers of curve or bulge.
No, it's not about curve. Stop it.
Bulge or
Come
curve,
on,
same
Riley.
thing in
You're
this
better than
context.
this.
Stop being semantical. Come on. At this point, we
No,
don't need
you're the
semantical.
one being semantical here.
No, I'm not.
You're trying. No, you're taking the word bulge, and you're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Well, it's 21 kilometers of mountain, so that's quite pronounced and prominent. Would you not agree?
Percentage-wise, compared to the overall radius.
Oh, you mean like you guys do when you say about the 1 degree of movement when we travel 69 miles, or the 1 degree of tilt of the building?
That's not That's just simply a geometrical fact.
Yeah, but it's changing the units to make it sound trivial. That's really what you do.
We're not trying to make it sound trivial. We're trying to show you the linear relationship.
All right, let me make my point.
It conforms to a sphere, not to a plane. A plane would give you a wildly different relationship. You would not have 1 degree per 69 miles like we're talking about if it were a plane.
Let me make my point. Come back to me at the end.
Don't have one.
An observer standing at sea level on either pole is therefore 21 kilometers closer to the Earth's center point than if standing at sea level on the equator. And then we listen to how Neil deGrasse Tyson describes the Earth.
This is on average. All right, now what you just read was the actual for the polar and equatorial.
Which is exactly what I'm asking about.
It's 26 miles difference.
Are we going to hear Neil?
Almost 1,000 miles total.
Yeah, but that's still a lot of curve. That's a lot of road.
No, it's not curve, Riley.
Bulge, curve, whatever. Right, shush. Let me play what Neil deGrasse Tyson
says. You shush.
Sorry.
It got a little wider at the equator. Even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's a
little wider.
Plate. And officially it's an oblate. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped. Pear-shaped. Pear-shaped.
So my question is curved. Let me flip this back. Why would Neil deGrasse Tyson describe it as pear-shaped, which would directly contradict the laws of centrifugal force, when it clearly says that it's at the equator, and this doesn't address it here at all? So what I'm saying is there's two contrasting or conflicting definitions of what we should see. And my position is it doesn't appear to be chubby at the pole either. In any event, I can't prove that with evidence other than it's very, very dry, and there's an arid, massive deserts like the Sahara and stuff that has no water in it. But if
Would you like to repeat what you just said?
Why is Neil deGrasse Tyson describing it as oblate spheroid and pear-shaped at the bottom when it's described in the Wikipedia link as just oblate?
The Wikipedia is referring to the equatorial circumference, diameter, radius compared to the polar circumference, diameter, radius.
I agree.
It's a little bit, Riley. It's right there in front of your face. It's a tiny little bit.
It's 21 kilometers worth of
out of 8,000 miles.
Yeah, but where is that water, dude? It's the driest part of the world.
Water, my God. What is the elevation of the land? Is the land above sea level?
Let's check.
You don't even know?
We can check it randomly right the way around the equator, and you can tell me.
But the point is, my God, this is something you should have already looked at if you understood a single thing that you're talking about.
Well,
why don't you get that?
I understand it, but when I get somebody that presents me with like literally
how much water should be flooding the desert right there because of this?
Yes, exactly my point.
How much?
Well, hang on.
You've calculated a roughly a damn near zero force from this. And yet you're expecting all of these, ridiculous, this ridiculous amount of water should be doing all kinds of things contrary to the fact that its elevation is going to keep the water from pooling there.
I like pears.
Well, then go eat some. My God, listen to what he said in context.
I was going to say, you didn't play the full video, and flat earthers do that with that particular piece of Neil deGrasse Tyson footage. And to his credit, in context, he does go on to say that if you were to scale it down to the size of a bowling ball and you were to run your hands over it, it would be completely spherical. You wouldn't be able to detect any difference. Not only that, you wouldn't be able to detect any mountain ranges. The elevation changes would be so insignificant by comparison to the scale of the ball, which is paraphrasing what pretty much Neil said in the rest of that.
Let me just validate that's true. Oh, that clip's already been clipped.
That's why I like to mention that the moon. Hi, Nathan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there, Grim. How you doing, Grim?
All right.
Good
that's why I like to mention that the moon is also an oblate spheroid. When people start freaking out about the word oblate spheroid, they start thinking, "Oh, it's got to be this shape and all this and that." And I'm like, well, the moon is also considered an oblate spheroid. Do you see that? Do you see that?
I mean, Riley has the numbers right in front of his face.
So is the answer to your question, Curve, that I can't prove that there should be a bulge, therefore you don't have to answer it?
No, not at all. How is anybody supposed to talk to you?
I'm just asking for what parameters you would expect to make for my assertion to stick. Because I'd like an answer off you, but you seem not to want to answer because you say that I can't prove my point. So what?
No, I'm asking you how much you expect to see.
It's like calling a Kindle a bulge. Oh, look at that bulge on the Kindle there. It's not a bulge you can visually see with your naked eye.
I mean, you just read the numbers. Compare the bulge to the overall radius.
Yeah, but it's still 21.36%. Well, hang on.
Like I said, you're literally trying to make a mountain out of a molehill.
No.
I don't know how to say it any better than that.
Nicely put.
The claim is 21.36 kilometers closer to the Earth's center point. That's your claim. Now, I'm asking, if that is the case, how can we observe that? Because there doesn't appear to be that level of difference because it's a very dry area of land. Now, if you're going to argue it's the topography that makes it look like an illusion again, because that's essentially what it sounds like you're saying.
Dude, do you realize you're dealing with like averages and stuff here?
21.36 kilometers. That's what we're dealing with.
You're dealing with averages. And you expect sea level
above a bulge.
land that's at higher elevation than the sea level.
All right. Well, let me put.
That makes no sense, Riley. Why should sea level be above land that's higher than the sea level?
Well, we should be able to see more water at the equator, but we don't.
On the land that's at a higher elevation than the sea level.
So how would we be able to then? That means that we have to then validate this claim to be true in the first place, because
You
it then
have
means
to
that
validate
if we can't see
You need to validate it, bro.
how would we validate this to be true? Then this then
is
falls into the point of
insane.
just nothing but rhetoric based on the geometric calculations of science.
Oh my God. Wow.
How do we prove
Joined by
this is true?
Paper
Can I get a couple
Explanator.
croutons with that?
Sorry, Grim. I'm just going to introduce Paper. We've been joined by Paper Explanator. How you doing, Paper?
Not bad. You?
Very well.
Hey,
Pleased to
Paper.
have you here.
Good. Anthony, can I just suggest something?
It depends if it's got anything to do with angular size.
No.
Before you do, Paper, I'm really sorry to interrupt you as well. We've also been joined by Spurs Chemo. Very pleased to have you here, Spurs.
Oh my, look, Paper's back on this.
Anthony, just bring up a picture of the globe.
Well, there are no pictures of the globe.
Well, okay, bring up a picture of, use Google Earth, whatever you want to use.
But there are.
Yeah, well, whatever, Anthony. Just bring up a picture of a sphere.
Share my screen. Is that on? No. Bring up a picture of a sphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Choose any one of those spheres. Okay. Now, you can see that looks circular.
Well,
yeah. It's spherical. Okay.
Share the screen, Nathan.
Is it beyond your imagination to imagine? Well, it's beyond your capability to imagine that picture is 2 pixels wider than it is high.
From that perspective, point taken. But from the perspective of a map of the Earth, I'd like to show you. Hang on.
Yes.
Preferably one with the equator identified on it.
You're expecting a bulge like a band of mountains that 22
No.
miles high around the equator.
I'm expecting it to be one of the heaviestly populated areas on the Earth with water, and it appears to be very dry. That's not a good example.
Why? You've done the calculations for mv squared over r. You've calculated that the difference in g is 0.003 or whatever. It's 0.3%. That means a 100 kilogram person would weigh something like 35 grams less at the equator than at the poles. That's all it's saying.
So the equator runs through Brazil and it runs through there. Right now, I can.
So is it beyond? There's the picture. Is it beyond your imagination that is 2 pixels wider than it is high?
In that context, no, that's not beyond my imagination. I wouldn't be able to detect
what do you mean
that.
in that context? That's reality.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, and in that context, no, I would agree that I wouldn't be able to tell. But when I look at the land that we do have that's on the equator, it's the driest of lands in the world. They don't get any water. There's a drought in the.
What's water got to do with it?
Well, this is where the bulge. You would expect the excess of water to make this area very affluent with water.
No.
That's the bulge.
Right. Imagine a beautifully wet basketball. Right. It's got a layer of water all over it, and that layer of water is, say, 1/10 of a millimeter thick. Yeah. Now you rotate that basketball, right, at 1 revolution, say, per hour. Are you expecting all the water to be flung to the equator of that basketball?
Well, if you put it in the context of the Coriolis force, which is the atmosphere,
What does it do with Coriolis force?
Hang on.
This is centrifugal force.
Sentence rings.
If you put it in the context of the Coriolis force, which you guys claim goes round with the Earth as the Earth spins, even though it's not connected,
No.
you would expect the water that is connected.
He doesn't understand Coriolis, centrifugal.
Clearly, you don't understand what Coriolis effect is, Anthony.
I do, because the Coriolis effect is the argument that when a plane goes east or west, because it's traveling in the atmosphere, it doesn't get there any quicker when it goes east to west.
He's talking about centrifugal force right now.
Anthony, the Coriolis effect manifests itself when something, for instance, is at the equator, okay, and it moves north or south.
because it's at the equator and it has got a linear velocity of approximately 1,000 miles per hour. It has that momentum. As it moves north, there's nothing to take away that momentum, and so it continues to travel east at 1,000 miles an hour. But the Earth itself underneath it is traveling slower, so it appears to move to the right.
But the point is, the atmosphere moves with the Earth.
Yes, it does as a whole. But
Right.
as the atmosphere at the equator moves north, it maintains a momentum, and
So-
it then makes it appear as if it's traveling across the land west to east.
So can we just confirm that we agree that the atmosphere moves with the Earth? Yes.
Of course it
or no?
does. The whole atmosphere moves with the Earth through space.
So given that the atmosphere is not directly connected to the Earth, it's independent.
No, it's not independent as such. It's held to the Earth by gravity. There can still be motions within the atmosphere. That's called.
I know you accept that gravity is the thing, but obviously flat earthers don't accept that gravity is actually a thing. So your explanation with gravity is not generally accepted to be credible. But in any event, the point is the Earth moves with the Earth.
And flat earthers aren't the general. So, I mean, you're not really.
Wait. The question was, would you expect it to come flood into the Earth, given that it's directly connected to it and it is something we can prove? The answer to that question would therefore be yes. If Coriolis drags the air around with it too.
The whole Earth and its in its entirety, with its people on it, with its land and mountains and water, is moving through space.
You can't prove that to be true.
Well, that's the heliocentric model. That's what all the calculations all point to. That's what all the observations point to.
Yeah, but calculations are not proof, though. They're just maths.
You can do a laboratory experiment and can calculate centripetal force for a small object, and you can scale it up to the Earth. And you do mv squared over r, you'll find it's 0.003 g, whatever it is, whatever the calculation is. That is the difference. It's very, very small. The Earth is not rotating at 1,000 miles an hour like people say. It's a particular position on the Earth with respect to the poles is moving at that speed, or with respect to the center of the Earth. But the Earth is rotating once every 24 hours. It's a very slow rotation.
But we've got to the point where you agree that if the Earth is moving with the air and the Coriolis force is really a thing, then you would expect the water to move with it too, because that is directly connected. And
I'm absolutely sure, Anthony. If some water moved from the North Pole north, it would appear to have a west-east bias in its motion. And that's exactly it's a fluid, same as the air is. It's just you don't really notice water, because water is it's homogeneous. Clouds and things aren't. Clouds sit within the atmosphere. We don't actually see the air spin round and round in hurricanes and storms and things. We see the clouds move because they're in the air and the air is moving, and it goes clockwise in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere. That's well understood.
So back to the claim that the Earth's spinning and that therefore the water should bulge at the equator.
And the water just shouldn't necessarily bulge at the equator. The effect is microscopic.
But
you're expecting a wall of water 23 miles high at the equator. Is that what you're saying?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't follow that it will be the driest parts on the planet if there's very little water there.
Of course, it follows.
Really?
Yes, because the land masses, it doesn't fling the water 23 miles high. The entire shape of the Earth is 23 miles wider at the equator. That means the landmass is further out, and the water that sits in it below the level of that landmass is maintained in the oceans. The water isn't going to jump 23 miles, and you're imagining the Earth, its actual landmass is a perfect sphere, and that the water sitting on it would then be 23 miles out. That's absolutely correct. That's a correct assumption if you assume the Earth is a perfect sphere. The Earth isn't. The whole landmass itself, with its water and everything, is 23 miles wider at the equator. What's the big deal?
Okay, let's go with your position. I'll concede the point if you can demonstrate that the point is true. How would you prove that there is a bulge at the equator that's microscopic?
There isn't a bulge at the equator. The overall shape of the Earth is very slightly wider at the equator than it is at the poles. Imagine you've got a basketball sitting on a concrete surface, and it's a perfectly spherical basketball. Yes?
Could you prove that point?
I'm trying to illustrate it. Imagine a basketball sitting on a concrete surface and it's perfectly spherical. Okay. Now you put a heavy book on top of the basketball, and it squashes the basketball out at its equator by 1 millimeter and reduces its height by 1 millimeter. It still looks perfectly spherical, but if you take an accurate measure, you'll find that one is wider than the other.
Yeah,
now,
that's what he's asking you, Paper. How would you measure that the book has changed anything? How would you measure it?
Well, I mean, the Earth has been mapped very, very accurately over centuries, and
he's not asking what has happened. You're missing the point. He's asking you how. How do you detect this microscopic, immeasurable?
Is that what you're asking, Riley?
By measuring the size. We know the size.
Yeah, he's saying, how do you notice it? How can we find?
Shut up, Spurs.
Is that what you're asking,
Riley?
We know the size of the Earth. How do you know how big an apple is?
You've just said you put a book on a basketball and you're convinced there would be a bulge. Okay, if we can agree with that.
Bulge. I didn't
okay,
say,
if there's a clear bulge, how would you measure it?
No. These two work it out there.
How would you measure it, Paper?
This is pretty bad.
With a caliper?
Right, stop. Let's go back to route one. Originally, I asked, why does it appear that there is no pooling of water at the equator? Then I got told that it was too minuscule for us to notice. So then I questioned the validity of the original statement in the first place. Because if it's too minuscule for me to notice, I'll concede that point if you can prove that there is actually a bulge in the first place. Now you're saying it's minuscule. I'm asking about the validity of the statement. I'm asking about the validity now of the statement that there's an equatorial bulge as per what it says on Wikipedia. If you're saying I wouldn't notice it, how do we know it exists in the first place?
It calls it an equatorial bulge, but you're reading that as if it's some band of water around the equator.
No, I'm not.
The Earth
like
is
the ring of Saturn.
I've just said I'm prepared to concede that point completely if you can show that there is actually a difference of 21.36 kilometers at the equator difference. That's what the claim is.
I'm not a geographical surveyor, Anthony.
But why are you on arguing that it's a minuscule amount then?
Because I accept the findings of science.
And that's what I was just about to say. They're saying that because of the spin, there should be more. It should be more bulge in the middle. So they can't prove this. They're just saying that it should be.
That's where I'm getting to. If it's the case that
been measured, the size of the Earth is.
You keep on saying it has been measured. It's been measured. We're asking how. How did they do this?
God, I don't know what kind of technology.
Oh, now you don't know.
I don't know what kind of technology. I don't know how Spurs. I don't know how chemists synthesize ibuprofen.
No, but you know a lot about the model. You know a lot about the board, but you don't know how they determine there's a bulge at the center.
I'm not a geodetic surveyor.
But
they look down on the ball.
What are you talking about? Why are you defending this?
They look down on the ball
because they're experts.
Well, my problem is Paper. My question was about the bulge, and you said the bulge was that small, I wouldn't notice it. And in that case, then I have to question the validity of the claim in the first place of the big bulge. Because it's like curvature. You can't say that the Earth's curved, but we can't detect it. If
nobody said we can't detect it.
Well, nobody's found curve.
Oh my God.
So what I'm asking is,
that's not true, dude.
There's a bulge.
We keep showing you curvature all the time, and you keep saying nobody's showing you curvature.
They're trying to get away
hold on. Really a liar.
You photographed it yourself, Riley.
Hold on, you're all hijacking his point now. Whoa. Let him get to the end of his point before you troll him about points we've covered about 1 million times. He's getting to the end of his point. He's probably 90% there. Come on.
Yeah. So my original point was that there should be a bulge at the equator. Now you're telling me that the bulge is not really a bulge. It's inconceivable. It's so small that we would never perceive it. So then I ask about the validity of the original statement in the first place. Given the original statement makes it clear that there's a bulge, how do we know that there is a bulge?
You asserted a massive effect.
Right. It's been measured,
with
did you say?
No reason.
Wait, Curved, did you say Paper it's been measured?
Yes.
Could you see any evidence to support that assertion?
Right. Have you ever...
Citation.
Have you ever measured your own height, Riley?
So that would be a no.
Is that a no?
You've never measured your own height.
Is that a no, Paper?
No,
I just want a citation, Paper.
I'm trying to point out the ridiculousness of his question.
No, you're avoiding the question by asking him a completely irrelevant question. It's a simple question. Can you provide a citation for that or not?
At the moment, no. I'll go and look it up. Shall I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we want to know, as flat earthers, how you found this bulge.
Okay.
Yes,
very important thing.
Because the way it reads curved and the way it reads paper, it reads to a flat earther that there's a bulge. Now, if the ball earthers say, well, the bulge is technically there, but you can't see it, then we have to question the validity of the statement in the first place.
What do you mean can't
How do they know
see
it's a
it?
bulge?
What do you mean can't see it?
All right, detect, calculate, observe, monitor, whatever. Change the adjective to suit.
It's been calculated, obviously. It's right there.
Calculated sounds more accurate. Has it been proved?
Yeah.
Yeah, according to their calculations, should be. I said this many
Well,
times.
he just said it can't be calculated, and the calculation and the results are right there in front of his face.
Yeah.
He came in here
calculated,
asserting
but I'm asking for the
this massive pool of water at the equator due to a force that he had no idea how strong the force was, how much water there should be, or why he thinks that the force should be strong enough to throw a bunch of water up on top of land that's higher than the sea level.
But here's the thing. If I'm so stupid and I'm following this the way it's written, and I come to you guys and you point it out that I'm so stupid, then I ask about the validity of the statement in the first place. I'd expect the intelligent people like yourself and Paper, when Paper makes the comment, it's been measured. Great. Let's see that proof. Because I then think there's no such thing as a bulge, because if it's so minuscule we can't detect it, and I apply that to the curvature argument,
so
then
minuscule,
we're left
you
in a
can't
position where
detect
it
it.
seems to be an
Stop
illusion.
lying, Riley. Stop lying.
Lying?
You're changing the words. Yes.
No, I'm not changing the words.
You cannot detect it. You're not going to stand there and look at it, and it's going to jump out at you like a ring of Saturn around the equator.
Right, while there's a barrage of ad hominem attacks going on, I will do a few links. So, if you are new to this channel, or you are one of the 50% of the people watching this that are not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you can keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat if you'd like to toss me a buck or two, and most importantly, if you would like to join the stream to express your views on the shape of the Earth, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click on the link below this video. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please don't try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media, and with that, I'll pass you back to the debate.
Now you don't accept them.
No, I do
you
accept
did
them.
when you
I'm
came
asking
in
to
here
prove it.
when you thought you had a point.
Pardon?
When you thought you had a point, you were happy to accept them. Now that they don't support your point, you don't accept the measurements and calculations anymore.
That isn't the position, and you know it isn't. You missed
that. Is exactly the position.
No,
Kirby,
I'm asking about the validity of the
I know.
assertion.
Now we're going to play the intent game.
What is according to the calculations? We're asking you to show us how you've measured this bulge. If you're just saying, well, according to this, and it's just a theory, it's not valid. You can't show anything. You're just saying, according to the calculations, there should be a bulge here and this much. And you've just showed us on Wikipedia how much there should be.
The calculations were perfectly valid to Riley when he thought they supported his point.
But you've told me that that was a stupid point to make. Okay, so then
it is a stupid point to make.
Yeah, so then let's test the validity.
So now you don't accept the calculations because they don't support your stupid point.
No, I've never rejected the calculations. I've accepted them. But I'm asking for the evidence that proves that they're true. That's not the same point.
Okay, now if this is conspiracy theory, why would we inject such a small discrepancy in to give you guys any leg to stand on? We would make it perfectly straight. We wouldn't say, hey, there's a little bulge in the middle. If it was a man-made idea,
well, I would
be a bulge in the middle. It would be a perfect sphere.
I would interpret that to be.
Pleased to have you here, by the way, Tony. Thanks for being here.
I'm sorry. Hey, what's up, Nathan? It's in the morning. I'm sorry. I get angry in the morning. Just joking.
I would interpret that to be the consequence of applying mathematics to something that doesn't even exist, coming out with an answer and saying, hey, there's the answer to a thing that doesn't even exist. But if it sounds plausible logic and it sounds okay, so yeah, we'll accept it.
Then why were you using the numbers?
Because that's the claim. That's the assertion.
So why were you using them?
Because that's the claim. That's the assertion.
You thought you found a contradiction.
No, I'm asking for the evidence to support the
You found a
contradiction.
contradiction.
I'm asking
And
for
you
the
found
evidence
out
to
you just
support
didn't
it.
even know what you were looking at or how to apply it. You came up with an absurd claim that water
Okay.
should be pulled up on top of land that's higher than sea level.
Okay, so let's accept the position. I've been through this with you before. I'll accept that it was an absurd comment to make. Let's test the validity of the original assertion to be true. Where's the evidence that proves that there is a difference of 20? If the observer stood at the pole compared to the observer stood at the equator, paper said it was measured. Let's see if it's measured. Perfectly reasonable.
That sounds like a fun thing to do here.
Where's the evidence that Britain is 3,000 miles away from America?
That sounds like distraction technique to me.
No. Where's the evidence? Has it been measured or not?
Right, you
We
made
could say
the
the
assertion
same thing to you about almost everything you say.
You don't know how they measure from England to America.
You made the assertion paper that it was measured at 21 kilometers, and I asked you to provide the evidence, and now you've come back with a
I've
distraction.
provided a link in the side thing there to a publication by what they call the International Earth Rotation and Reference System Service, IERS. Earth experiences a flattening of 0.0033528 at the poles. This flattening is due to Earth's rotational velocity, a rapid which causes the planet to bulge at the equator. And I've put a link to the actual PDF, which is highly technical. But if you want to go ahead and read it, since you're a master of physics, you go ahead and read it, and you should understand it.
If you can point my eyes in the right direction to where I should be reading from, what page?
Read the whole thing. It's only about a 3 or 4 page document.
No,
So how come we don't
looking for
see
something he can share
from the ISS?
Sorry?
Hang on.
Okay, before we get to that,
The point that you were meant to be proving was that you said that
finish curved,
I
finished.
asked for the evidence that proved that somebody had measured it, and this is the answer. Am I going to find the answer in here of somebody measuring the difference?
I believe so, yes. That's what it's about, is measuring the diameter of the Earth and the deformations the Earth suffers because of tidal gravitational forces.
It looks like a lot of heavy maths. It doesn't look like anybody's measured it.
This is where you've got to accept the fact, Anthony.
Yeah.
You are not trained in mathematics.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm
not
asking
mean-
for the
that does not
evidence
mean-
that proves
that
that
does
this
not
is a
mean-
thing,
No,
not the maths that
Just
proves
because it
it's a
involves
thing.
maths, just because it involves maths,
Evidence.
just
I
because
asked you
it
for the
involves
evidence
maths.
that it was measured, and
No,
this
no,
is
no.
measurements. This
Anthony.
is calculations, isn't it?
Yes, it's based on measurements.
Where's the measure? Where is that? Where is it based on measurements? It's based on the measurements of the globe itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a calculation. It's not evidence that someone's measured it like you claimed originally. Is that correct?
You think this? Are you expecting me to say that here's an article with a guy with a big, massive, great tape measure who's gone round and measured the Earth?
Metaphorically, yes. Paper, yes. That's what he's asking for. Paper, yes.
That's just patently stupid.
Yes,
No,
that's what he's
he said
asking
it
for,
was measured.
metaphorically speaking. He's not saying he literally wants a guy standing next to it photographed with a tape measure, but yes, he's saying rather than taking what should be the diameters and parameters of the globe and putting that into an equation to come up with what is now defined as a bulge, he wants it to be shown to be measured.
Sure.
Well, the claim was, paper said that it was measured, and I've asked for the evidence to show that it was measured, not calculated. That wasn't the claim. The claim was measured.
What would actually happen would be
Well, maybe you should grab a perfect circle and slap it up against your screen right there and see, what we got.
teams of geodetic surveyors throughout the centuries have taken measurements. Now, I'm afraid that you do have to use maths when you add all up these measurements and you find that the circumference of the Earth is a given value. I'm sorry, you have to use the plus key on your calculator to add this length to that length to this length to that length.
You've done it again. You've said people throughout history have made measurements and then they've made calculations from them. Well, let's see those that have come from history.
We'll try and find it by the next debate. We'll try and find it.
Cool.
It's got to be out there.
Geodesy. Just look into the subject of geodesy. It's a massive subject.
It might be, but look,
It clearly proves that the Earth is a sphere.
This is my point, right? The assertion was an observer standing at sea level on either pole is therefore 21 kilometers closer to the Earth's center point. And you said it had been measured. I asked for the evidence. When we click on the Earth's center point, we can see that there's lots of pretty pictures. But how would they actually measure the distance to the Earth's center point? Could you even tell me how that's done?
By very, very clever scientists who dedicate their lives to things like this.
So basically, you're arguing from a position of ignorance.
Of ignorance. Now, I'm stating that there are people out there who specialize in this kind of thing. I have a general education in physics. I'm not a specialist. I've never been involved in physics as a job. I have a general education. I know the physics principles. I'm not a geodetic surveyor.
But you're arguing that intelligent people can do it. That is a position of ignorance, and therefore a claim that's argued from a position of ignorance is ad ignorantum.
I accept that I can't fix my own modern car engine at the moment because there's certain aspects of it I'm not familiar with. So I take it to a garage where there are experts who can fix it with their eyes closed. They're very good at what they do.
But one of the commandments of logic that you guys constantly preach back to us with things like straw man fallacy, one of them is if you argue from a position of ignorance, that's an ad ignorantum fallacy, and that's what you just argued.
No, an argument from ignorance is saying I don't understand it, therefore it can't be true.
Yeah, but you just said you don't understand it, but you accept it.
I didn't say I didn't understand it. I didn't say I didn't understand it.
They were your words. That was exactly what you said.
I'm not saying I couldn't understand it if I was taught it.
But Samuel Robotham went over this in his book Earth Not a Globe. He said the fact that pendulums away from the equator, discredit him as much as you want. He goes over some very good points and explains them in pretty good detail. Away from the equator, pendulums swing a little faster, which points to the Earth being flattened toward the poles and closer to the gravitational center, causing the pendulums to swing faster. Toward the equator, they swing slower, so they theorize, keyword theorize, that the Earth was oblate spheroid, fatter at the equator, more removed from the gravitational center, causing pendulums to swing slower around the equator than at the poles. But this could also be explained in a flat Earth model with electromagnetism causing the pendulum to swing in different ways. It can swing in all sorts of different ways with or without gravity as part of the model. That's the problem.
Right, I'm just going to do a couple of introductions. I'm sorry. Pleased to have you here. First and foremost, I've already levered you up, but we've also been joined by Physics Warrior. So if I can just say a quick hello, I've put you on mute. Physics. If you can just all bear with me while I say hello to Physics.
Hey.
So,
hello.
Just to wrap up the point, then, it would appear that we're going to be accepting calculations as proof. Is that where we're at?
Do you not accept calculations as proof throughout your entire life, day in, day out?
So that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's not an acceptable standard of evidence for people in the flat Earth debate.
No one cares about you, Riley. We don't care what
maybe
you
not.
accept.
But your evidence is not.
Well,
Carry on.
It's whether or not these theories are based on sound logic, and some of these theories are based on logic that can work in different ways depending on the paradigm. So let's at the very least be honest about where we get our theories and about where we get our knowledge, and proceed from one paradigm and see where it falls short. And then if it falls short, let's pick up another paradigm and see which paradigm is the most correct.
And in this case, it's based on
let's just take a look at the actual photos of Earth right now. You know that. And measure the difference.
The actual photos of Earth.
Yeah, like I'm showing you right now from NASA.
What the hell are you talking about? Photos of Earth.
I think you got to stop cussing, dude.
I haven't cussed.
I think people get ejected from here for that.
Everybody knows that.
You better calm down.
I didn't cuss. I laughed.
Yeah,
Graham, that's CGI.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Can you prove this is CGI?
Oh, it's certainly not real.
Can you prove that, sir?
Hang on, I've got a 5-year-old in the room next door. Do you want me to bring him in? He might be able to help us with that.
Hey, Spurs, you were given a series of
at the very least
to determine which is CGI.
Yes or no? Can you prove this is CGI? Yes or no?
How well you did.
Yeah, it looks fake.
I agree.
Okay, so you can just prove that by saying that?
You were wrong on all of them, Spurs.
Yeah, it looks completely fake.
I agree.
But it's not.
What compared
So
to?
Can you prove its authenticity though? You're the one making
About
the
to say,
assertion.
how can you prove? I mean, who took that picture? And how did they take this
What are you
picture?
comparing it to, Spurs?
Hang on. He asserts has the burden of proof. The assertion is that photo is real.
No, your assertion is that it's fake.
No, we're not pushing the evidence.
Sorry to interrupt. Grim, can you just make it full screen just so we've got a nice globy picture full screen?
I'm trying. Oh, well, I'm trying to show you the data down here underneath, captured by the Space Agency's Epic camera and telescope on Noah's Discover satellite.
Namely, Anthony and Riley have done. There's this curvature does not exist anywhere on this plane. We've never detected this much curvature anywhere.
Well, no, that's not actual. I did get a little bit of evidence of potential or apparent curve once.
Yeah, you did.
You got it more than you
That's
admit.
questionable, Anthony. We'd have to look at that.
Much more than you admit, Riley, and you know it.
Dude,
It's a 4 megapixel CCD.
So hold on, Grim. That's another reason why we say such pictures are fake, because this much curvature has never been detected in real life with real instruments. And
well, yeah, it has. Just with regular telescopes at 47 kilometers away, using a tower that's over the horizon over water. You know what I'm saying? That's 300 meters tall.
We're talking about this much curvature, what you presented.
From 3 different locations just to verify the results. So
I found something called Measuring Horizon Drop and Earth's Equatorial Bulge from Rocket Launches. I put it in the side chat. I'm not sure if anyone wants to look at that, or if they can see. I haven't really through it, but maybe it has something in here. On a phone, so I really can't do nothing but that.
But even the horizon kind of disproves curvature of the Earth. You look out into the distance, and you supposedly see ships disappear after 3 miles out in the ocean. But on the horizon line, looking left to right, out at the horizon level where this curve supposedly happens and these ships disappear, you don't note any curvature left or right. So you're supposed to note curvature going in the forward direction 3 miles out, yet you see no noticeable curvature left or right. So that's cognitive disconnect.
You wouldn't see it since you see in a 360 degree. You see 360 degrees, dude. You wouldn't see any curvature left to right.
But eyes are extremely sensitive to any curvature at any distance. Yeah, but you can see the curves of light far off. If you can see that, then you can see curvature too.
The only way to tell curvature,
you're missing the question.
I don't know why you're doing all that.
Why do we see curve going forward?
You don't have to interrupt. Okay, I mean, wow, I'm very polite. I thought. Okay, well, there's going to be this kind of show. I'll just be quiet. Go ahead.
So we're asking, you see curve forward, but not left to right.
Said.
How do you explain that?
You see the effect.
That's basically what the
No, Spurs, you don't see curve going forward. You see the effect of curve. You see things.
That's right.
Obscured.
You see the effect of curve.
You
have to use.
I don't understand at all.
Right. Well,
what do you mean? We see the effect.
I'll try and explain it then.
Yeah, try and explain the effect of curvature. That is not actual curvature.
If you get a 6-foot drop going away from you, it's enough to obscure a boat.
But you don't see the curvature because it's on the other side. It's obscured from your point of view.
Left to right over several miles.
So
you are not going to
going down. Is the ship going down the board, down the curvature, or is it going?
You want an answer, Spurs, or not?
God, Spurs, are you going to listen or not?
Well, I'm confused.
Well, I'm trying to explain it. If you'd let me get to the end.
Okay, so explain why we don't see curvature left to right, but apparently we see curvature going forward.
Right, as he asks the question again, very slowly over you, knowing that you have the answer. Yes, great tactic, Spurs.
Yeah, because I'm very confused. You tell us that the ship is going down the curvature and down the ball. So in my mind, if you tell me the ball is going,
he's totally ready. The ship is
going down the ball, and then you say the effect, I'm
shotgunning. Quit it.
Going down the ball, or is it an effect? Is it an illusion? Is it really happening, or is it not happening? Is it going down the ball, or not down the ball?
Disingenuous.
Over to you, Curve.
Care to hear the answer. All right, this is obvious. Somebody want to talk to him about this? Or what?
Is it going down the ball, or is it not going down the ball? That's what you want to
Are you going to listen or not?
What ball?
Are you
when the ship goes away from the horizon, is it going down the ball?
Are you going to listen or not?
Yes, we're listening.
Right, now shut up then. Okay, the boat goes away from you and goes over the curvature. Right, say 6 feet, and it's enough to obscure the boat. Now, don't jump in. Let me finish.
Right.
Looking left to right, you can see several miles of water line left to right. You can't see more than 3 miles in any direction, remember, because that's the horizon. So going left to right, let's give you
6 feet.
Let's give you 6 miles. Now, are you expecting to see a 6-foot curve over 6 miles?
If I see it forward, yes. Why not?
You get a piece of timber. Go to a timber yard, Spurs. Go and ask them to bring you out a length of.
Forget that. I'm asking about what we see on the ocean. We're asking about the ocean when we see.
Excuse me, Spurs. Silence yourself.
Over the horizon. Is it going down the ball, or is it just an effect?
I'm trying to give you a practical example. You go to a timber
You can't use wood.
I am
going about
water. Learn while their mouths are running.
Example.
We're talking about water. Give me an example of water.
Better to remain silent and thought a fool than to
Give me an
speak up.
example with
and
water.
called
I'm
out.
going to give you a practical example with something that.
Yes, but with water, liquid. Use liquid.
Not with liquid. It doesn't need to be liquid. Anything can be curved.
No, but use liquid in this instance.
Anything can be curved. You go to a timber yard and get a 4 meter length of 3x2. You look at it left to right, and it looks perfectly straight. Now pick that piece of timber up and look down its length. You'll find that most of those bits of timber have curvature to them. They are slightly warped because of the drying process. But you cannot tell that by looking at it. Now that could be a whole inch over 4.2 meters. And you can't see it left to right when you look at the piece of timber. But look down the length of timber, and it looks like it just come off a banana boat.
That's right. Let it happen.
So that wood does that wood have curvature?
Yes.
So that if a boat or a car or an object was going down that plank of wood, it would actually be going down the curvature, yes?
Yes.
Right, so now we're asking the same thing about the boat. Is it actually going down the curvature, or is it going away from you?
It's going away from you and down.
Oh, so at the same time. Well, of course it's going away from you, but is it going down? That's the most key thing.
From relative
to what?
I think you're expecting it to tilt at an angle at the same rate that it goes down.
Down
and that's
relative
not how it
to
works.
what?
Yeah,
Well,
I think you think it's supposed to
when
be
you're
like
standing at the beach and you're
by the time it's
Herb,
12
why
feet
do you
down,
say
it should
relative
almost
to
be
what?
upside
You know
down in front
where
of you, and I
relative
think
to
you
what?
don't
We're
understand.
standing at the beach. We're
Oh,
looking at the
again, you're
going
talking.
over
Again,
the
you're talking,
horizon.
dude. Really? Holy
We're
smokes!
looking at the boat going over the horizon.
This guy.
So we know where from.
Talked to, he's being spoken to, and he just starts talking right through it.
I'll give you an example that you can do yourself with water if you like. Would you like that?
Go on, because I've got a question for you afterwards. Go on.
Okay. Right. You go to the beach, get a telescope, and set it in a perfect position so its center of view is on the horizon.
Right.
Okay. Now wait until a boat is sitting on that horizon and your telescope is looking directly at the hull.
Okay.
Okay. As that boat goes further away, you say it starts to shrink from the bottom because of whatever effect, squashing effect. No, you'll actually find that boat lowers in the view of the telescope. It goes down in the view of the telescope. Therefore, it's going, according to you, it's going underwater.
No, you said it's the effect.
No, you see the boat
That is the effect.
and it goes down. It goes down.
That's an effect.
In the view of the telescope, the boat goes down.
I think you just learned what an effect is today.
No, he hasn't learned anything.
Well, I mean, there's another effect that Samuel Rowbotham goes over in his book too. He says that it's really just a trick of vision, that as objects get further away from you, they recede to the vanishing point. And the vanishing point is the point at which the object gets thinner and thinner and thins out to less than 1 second of 1 degree of vision. Then it appears to disappear. But high-powered magnification can bring it back into view, and anything beyond this point appears to go below an imaginary horizon. Imaginary, but anything that is close down to the ground will narrow out because it covers less of a scope of vision. That's why the bottom of these ships and other objects appear to disappear, because they narrow out first, because it's based off of your height. The vanishing point is described from the center of your vision out based off of your height. So at your height, stuff would narrow down to that point and appear to disappear.
Yeah, we heard you. You're shotgunning. Na. All right, but we already.
That's the only way to get into full point before being interrupted.
We don't see what
you said. What you needed to say, right? You said it 3 times already. So now somebody's going to respond to that. You ready? It's been tested and you've been found to be incorrect.
What about it? Address it and address what's incorrect about it.
Again, you can't, like I was telling you while you were mouthing off. Okay, so you don't need to mouth off so much. You need to slow down a little bit. The thing is that's been tested, and you can do it again if you'd like, but you go ahead and I'll explain to you your little Eric Dubai videos, the little white boats that were disappearing over the horizon. It wasn't over the horizon. They were smaller than a pixel, and the camera doesn't pick them up as under anything up under a pixel. So it disappears at the top of the horizon, and he keeps going fast, so it makes it look like he just went over the horizon. And it's literally a trick on your guys. I'm trying not to swear because it's
you see my screen?
Crap. But anyway, so the point is that you cannot zoom in. I can show you. I can demonstrate right now that you can't zoom in on objects that are over the horizon
and bring back anything.
Right, you're not bringing back anything.
Visible.
That's what I'm saying.
Screen Spurs.
Yeah.
No, that's a trick. That's a camera trick. What you're doing there.
Are you saying that if you
No, I've seen it.
powerful
Yeah.
telescope in the world, you could zoom in and see the shore?
No, I don't. I didn't say you don't put words in my mouth, man. You don't just make up a straw man argument and say, so you're saying that I like green paper clips.
Two ballers arguing. It's Go ahead.
What's the obscuring the bottom of the tower?
And all the buildings that should be in view.
You see how the water paper is different contrasts. The water, it's lighter in the background, it's darker in the background. Yes. Yeah. So anything beyond that yellow line, you can't tell if it's really there or not.
All right.
What?
You can't determine what's in that distance.
Right.
You don't have
But you can see the tower.
Well, we can see the tower, but we don't know.
Don't know it's really there.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what we're looking at, do we?
Who's talking right now? Because this is like.
That's not a
Like
photograph.
who just started talking about this in the middle of when I was talking?
This is showing the same thing.
Because we don't know where the true horizon line is here.
You don't know.
The horizon is where you can see the horizon.
Right, right there.
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying, people.
But the fact that the horizon keeps on rising to eye level means that there's more flat land beyond. There is no horizon line because there is no upper boundary. The horizon line will just keep going off into the distance as far as you can see until the boundary, possibly whatever the boundary is.
Not to be true.
You would have
The
to expect me to
does
believe
not stay at
that
eye level.
If I stood at that
cannot
horizon,
zoom in on things that are over the
stood at that
horizon.
horizon line there, I would have to look down to see the bottom of those buildings, and that doesn't happen.
No, there'd be a bulge. There'd be a bulge in between that one.
No, well, that's just ridiculous.
The horizon rising.
If I was at the horizon line now, the hard horizon line, I would have to look down to see the bottom of those. According to your picture and the way you see it, I would have to look down. That
You
wouldn't
can't
happen.
teach geometry to cats.
There will always be a bulge in between you.
You can't
and
tell
The
a
way
horse.
that this picture looks, it looks like I'm looking up to the horizon, and it's all kinds of illusions going on that we
So if you
simply
change
can't explain.
if you change the camera angle, then it would bring that tower back into view, would it?
Well, like I said, the water line at the horizon is you can't discern.
Zoom in on that tower. That should have been a really easy one for you guys to prove, right? That tower has been there for a while. You guys keep showing still pictures of it on special event days, right? The flat earthers do. And why don't you flat earthers zoom into the bottom of that tower and prove it?
No, the point is that there's more land to be seen. The point is that you can describe a wider arc of vision with greater height, and you just get to see more land the higher up you go, and that the land doesn't reach this maximal height of horizon because there's more land out in the forward direction if you get up higher and describe a higher arc.
Conceptualize.
You think you just made sense right now? Because I need croutons. You put throughout so much salad.
One of the guests is incredibly loud. Hey ho. I'm going to do a couple of links because we have about 20 minutes left on this stream. So I'm pretty sure we haven't got a full panel at the moment. So if you did want to join to do any last minute trolling, we've just been joined by P Mars, who I will introduce in just a moment. But if you did want to join to do a last bit of trolling or express your views on the shape of the Earth, now is the time to do so. So I'll go through my links in terms of the show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join, where am I? I've lost track because I think P Mars has just sniped out Sleeping Warrior. We shall see when I go back to it. But yeah, if you've not shared the show already, please share the show on social media. And with that, I'm going to transition back and see if I can establish what's happened. Bear with me one moment.
Land, the higher you go, how can you see more land? Explain that to us without looking down.
Curved, Spurs. That's why.
Let's have a look at this picture of where Grimm's. Yeah, if he's standing at the top, if you're standing at the top of this board and you go up, explain to us how you see more land by looking forward.
Oh wow!
Impossible.
You really can't understand.
Wow, you are.
Spurs.
Are you
Really
serious?
can't.
This is a joke, right?
Right, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. I'm just going to say a quick introduction to P Mars. So if you don't mind, none of you can be heard while I'm talking, just so you know. How you doing, P Mars? Good to have you here.
Hey
F,
guys,
F, 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 F. I'm just kidding.
I got a diagram for Spurs.
You got a
Yeah, you
diagram.
agree, good man there. So, if anyone can explain that grim, curved, explain the higher you go, why you see more land on a ball, any ball, this is impossible.
Oh my god.
Oh, well,
what you would
because you're
expect
so
on a
tiny.
sphere.
You're so very, very tiny. So for a very small while, that will seem to be the perception.
No one can explain this to you, Spurs,
Compared
because
to
you
the
cannot
sphere, you're very-
comprehend
Well,
the
if you
reality
manage
of
to
the
explain
situation.
Sorry, I
this
just ate a
curve,
bite.
you'll convert every flat earth. Look,
It's been explained to you every which way.
flat earthers in
Spurs.
here right now listening, and if you manage to explain the height,
It's been explained to you
why
every
see
which
more
way,
land,
Spurs.
you'll
Brett
convert at least
explained
You
it.
60%.
cannot
Street
comprehend
explained
it.
I got a diagram.
How can you see more land the higher you go? We'd love this explanation.
I got
Paper
a
explanation.
I got a diagram to explain it for you, Spurs.
Yeah, let's screenshot. Let's have a look.
He's more confused than ever now. He doesn't understand this, and he never will.
He's not going to accept this.
Right, so you see the round, Pimo, stop on the round guy. No, stop.
Just lie back. Let it
Yeah,
happen.
okay, so if we look at the line of sight with the any of them, with the guy on
Are
the,
you
on
looking
the
at the line of sight for sure?
let's look at the line of sight. Where's your mouse?
Are you looking at the astronomical line of sight or the horizontal line of sight?
Yeah, go to the pink line of sight. No, this is
Line of the horizon.
Yeah, not this one, the other one, the other line.
Which one?
The straight one in where how he's with his body.
I don't understand.
We look at the other line, the other pink.
Oh my
line.
God, I don't understand. Just try to point it out. Pretend like you're talking to a kindergartner.
Oh my goodness, who's
Or a flat earther.
I mean, this is how it feels. I feel like I'm telling you stuff that's
Well, I
so
think
simple, and you're just avoiding understanding it
you would
on
not
purpose.
see-
So
by
there's
this
a little bit of
illustration
your own
here,
medicine
You would not
for
see
you.
more land the higher you go. It's impossible on a ball. Absolutely
It's controlled. And do you really think for real that that's the perspective that we're looking at?
These.
Spurs.
Spurs, can you see my screen?
You're talking about the Earth again, and you're looking
See,
at
like,
something that does not represent the scale of Earth. You're giving us how many degrees of arc?
You see the trickery that they use because
but
with
you're
the
giving me
ball
how
one
many
they
degrees
use a
of arc?
wide lens, and with the
Yeah,
flat line they use the straight line of sight.
Yeah, it's using too much knowledge fallacy.
Poor
That's
kid.
right. This is a knowledge fallacy.
Can you see my screen?
Okay, paper, make that line straight.
That line going from there to there is straight.
No, that's not straight.
Spurs?
You've just drawn it in the bloody thing.
No, that is not a straight line. Make it put it at the top of the ball and make the line straight.
Cussing.
90 degrees from the man looking.
Yeah, but he's looking.
Man, you guys got to get all that arc
No,
out.
no. You're making that. We don't look like that curve. Look
What
at
would
that
be
curve
the difference if you put it at top? He'd still be the same. There'd still be a bump and
What? Put it
between.
straight.
Like that.
No. Up.
Like that.
Stop. Down a little bit.
Let me help you guys out. All right.
There we go.
No,
Spurs,
you're not gonna
No, nobody looks down like that, paper, and that's why you're making the mistake you're making.
You can see in
There you
straight
go.
lines. You can see in straight lines. Are you saying there is not a line of sight between here and here?
Nobody on this earth looks how you're trying to demonstrate. Not one.
And nobody looks at tunnel vision either.
3 miles, the horizon.
And
is
also,
23 degrees.
Shut up, or
and also that asks, and also that, hold up, that asks people to have a totally different conception of gravity. See how that little stick figure is slanting off? According to gravity, aren't we supposed to be sticking straight out of the center of the gravity of the Earth?
Are you serious?
How we now slanting off out of direction
You're trying to
and making a
trick us by not
stand
putting the line
across the
straight.
curve? That's asking gravity to work in a totally different way.
I feel like I'm taking crazy
We're
pills.
supposed to be at the top of the ball automatically because of gravity. We're supposed to be at the top of gravity. We're not supposed to be slanting off slightly and looking off at a tangent like that.
Put it at the top, paper. Put it at the top.
So automatically, when we rise, the
North
horizon
Pole.
should dip
Put it at the
immediately.
North Pole. North Pole. Where you think the North Pole is? Put it there.
Okay. There.
That's not the
Right.
top.
Thank
Whatever
you.
you want. Now look forward. Straight
Yes.
forward.
Spurs, What you don't realise is this is not to scale.
It doesn't matter. I just want you to put it forward.
Someone 3 miles away, okay, would be about, like less than a pixel away from this object. This object is very tall. It's done to give you an idea of lines of.
Well, we can say then the top of that line. Hold on, then we can say the top. Hold on. We can say the top of that line is the ISS. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So now make the ISS look forward, straight forward.
But it doesn't.
Not down at the Earth, straight forward.
What, like that?
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
man.
straight. Thank you. Right now, leave this line here. Yeah. Leave this line. Right. So now imagine the ISS were to land on Earth, following this line of sight. Now do in reverse when it goes up and show us how you see more land.
But you can look in any direction.
If the ISS were to land right now,
and the ISS were there, yes?
No. If the ISS where you just first showed were to land in this formation, straight down, looking straight ahead.
From where?
Explain how you would see more land. Well, let Nathan introduce the new guest, and then we can continue.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Oh, no way. Oh, well, it looks like that's the end of the call. Maybe not. Bizarre timing. Right, hopefully I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We've been joined by Lewis Hackett. Don't know what happened there, Lewis. Pleased to have you here. Come in, Lewis. Can you hear us?
I'm
Lewis?
here.
Ah, perfect.
Nathan made a funny video about you.
Yeah, the answer is trigonometry. Everybody, it's amazing how nobody on the flat Earth understands that.
No, we clearly don't.
But it goes with another valid point.
Yeah, I know. They can't handle
Lewis,
more
we
than
need
two.
higher learning, this higher education, because it seems to be very, very confusing. Forward,
It's not
down,
that high.
up.
Not that high.
Well, we just said it could be the ISS.
Trigonometry, Spurs.
No, it's a very simple illustration,
What do you mean,
demonstration
no?
here.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, we just showed if the ISS went straight up and straight down at that height, looking forward.
But it doesn't.
You
That never
wouldn't
occurs.
see.
That is not something that ever occurs.
That's
Your
not
understanding
even
of what you
things
should
do
see
go
is
up.
wrong.
Things do go straight
Your
up, like
understanding of what you should see is
helicopters,
wrong.
balloons.
Your understanding
do
of what
go straight up.
happens is wrong.
Yeah, things can go straight up like a helicopter and balloons.
Yeah, they can if they're a helicopter and
Yeah,
a
they
balloon.
can, and they do. So because they do, we
If
can
they're a
measure
helicopter and a
looking
balloon.
straight forward to see if you would see more land or less land.
And you know
On a
that
ball,
they
if you
do.
look
On a
straight
ball.
forward, you'll see more land the higher you go.
Not on a board, you wouldn't.
Yes, on a ball you would.
Not without looking down.
Not without looking down.
Yeah,
So
you
have
do
to
look down,
demonstrate
but
You
it's
would
just such a
eventually be
small
looking
amount
down
that
at
you
the
don't
top
have
of
to
the
try.
globe.
Oh my god.
No matter how high you
Demonstrate this.
go,
All we're
no
asking
matter
for is a
how high you go,
demonstration.
the horizon is still going to be within your field of view.
Not on a ball.
If you have tunnel vision,
Yes.
this might happen, but you don't have. Well, maybe you do have.
Yeah,
tunnel
if you
vision,
look
I
through
don't
a
know.
telescope constantly your entire life,
Well,
or maybe
look,
a P900 that was
This
zoomed in all
boils
the
down to
time, maybe.
opinion, Lewis. And if you can convince people
It's
that
not
when you
opinion.
look forward,
It's
you
not
see
opinion.
more land,
It's not
you're going to
opinion.
change a lot of people's
opinion.
minds.
It's not
I
opinion.
can't understand. Well,
It's not
prove
opinion.
It. Well, prove it. Demonstrate it.
Go get a P900, zoom in on the horizon,
No, you
and elevate
demonstrate.
yourself.
You demonstrate and show us that you.
You do it. I don't care. You do it.
Well, if you don't care why we're here to change minds.
Because I'm here to
to
correct
change
your
the minds of
improper
every baller that thinks that this
I'm here
earth is a
to
ball.
I'm here to correct your improper
That's why I'm
perceptions
here.
of reality.
So I care. This is a very important subject. It's the way we think.
Can you see my screen now?
Go ahead, Paper.
Do you accept that this is a very small section of a ball?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still the scale is still wrong, but
I can see this curve is detectable.
Well, yeah, God almighty, of course it is. It's a picture
Yeah,
on
it's
a screen.
Yeah, right, go ahead.
Scale system. Look, person on the left here can only just to say see. The person on the right, just his head. Yeah?
Okay.
Right. Now, we put another
Right.
person here. Okay. And he's this tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. And now we look at the line of sight from him. Oh, look. You can
Why
see
do you make him look down? Why is he looking down? This is the problem.
You can see because he's above the earth. He can see.
Well, make him look forward. Make him look
He can
forward.
see
You're
around the
saying-
curve.
So hold on,
He's
whoa,
seeing
whoa, whoa.
Spurs. Spurs.
The confusion is, I think, is that we're saying when you look forward, continuously. So if this was a telescope, hold on, paper. If this was a telescope, not his eyes.
If you were to look,
Can the tall guy see the
If
short
this was a
guy's feet?
telescope paper, he would
Can
look
the tall
forward.
guy see the short
He wouldn't
guy's
have
feet?
just eyes.
Are you saying you can't tilt the telescope to look down, Spurs? Is that what you're saying?
I said you shouldn't tilt the telescope. You fix it so it's fixed to the line of sight where the guy on the ground is.
And if you did that,
what he does shouldn't change.
Yes, of course it would.
Right. So in reality, paper, in reality, paper, in reality, look what you've just shown. In reality, we see land at this height. How can it be?
What do you mean land at this height?
Because you get greater vision because of
How do we
the
see
arc.
land?
Spurs, do
shouldn't
you
see land at
only
this
see
height.
like a circle that's a foot wide in front of you? What is your issue?
Hold on. This is not the issue. It's the fact that you see more land. It's not talking about a single point. It's the fact that you get greater vision and greater range to see more land without looking down. You can still look forward and see more land. Go up higher, look forward, see more land. Go higher, the horizon still rises to eye level. Go higher, and you go higher and higher and higher and see for miles and miles and miles, describing bigger vision with the arc, with the law of perspective, because objects can describe a wider arc before they disappear into the distance. That's the point, without looking down.
He said laws of perspective.
There are no laws of perspective, first of all. And second of all, the horizon does not rise to eye level. It curves down away
Yes,
from it.
it
Just like
does.
Spurs continue to insist,
All
but
right.
it's just not very much.
Or
I'm
where's
sorry.
your evidence it rises?
Your sense of scale is very, it's
The GoPro videos where they're up there with the hot air balloon and it's still at eye level.
Granted, your eyes may cause you to look down. This is why it's a
Or
telescope.
what was on
You
the
cannot
balloon that
change
showed
the
you what
angle
horizontal
of a
was?
telescope, Lewis, if it's fixed. It's looking continuously forward.
Sure.
Yet it's
So go do it.
horizon.
So go do it.
What
You're making
measured
that claim.
horizontal,
Been
Earl?
done, Lewis. We've had balloons go to the sky miles high. We
Balloons
see the
don't have their
horizon. We've
Yeah.
done
balloons
it,
don't have
Lewis.
telescopes on them that are
It's
fixed.
been done, Lewis. This is what we're
No,
saying.
it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
Go and look at, go and look at the high
You go
altitude.
do it.
measured
Go
to
and
be
look at the high
horizontal from the
altitude
balloon?
balloons, Lewis.
You
you'll
go
see
do
it.
it. You go do it,
done.
Spurs.
It's been
How
done.
was the horizon
No, it
measured
hasn't.
to be horizontal from the balloon?
I've looked at high
It's
altitude
at eye
balloon
level, at the
footage, and
midline
there
of the
is a
lens. That's
curve.
eye
How
level
have you
from the
determined
balloon
eye level,
perspective.
Aura? How have you determined eye level?
It's the middle of the balloon lens field. That's
How
eye
have
level.
you determined eye level?
Because where
Oh,
the
oh,
camera
Basically,
so
is
it's the height
positioned-
of the eyes. The height, of the eyes for the balloon would be the
height
lens.
of the eye. So the
It's
ground
not
is
looking
moving.
down, is it? Does anybody
So the
have
ground's
a way to
moving?
determine what angle the balloon's looking at? It looks like it's
How
eye
do you
level
know
because
the
it's
angle?
at the midline of the lens
You guys have
without any sort of
misunderstandings
angle
in
of
motion
declination.
and misunderstandings in trigonometry. You need to get those things sorted out, and then everything will make sense to you.
No, you just.
How
need
are people going to
simple
understand
text.
anything with this
That's
with these mind-destroying double standards
You
that
don't
we have
understand
for logic
trigonometry,
and
And then finally,
and
you
you
need
don't
to be able to
understand
verify,
basic
Lewis.
rules of motion.
That's all you need. You don't
It's
need
that
to
simple.
study 20, 30 years of science that doesn't really work. That's your
You don't
point.
understand trigonometry
Well,
or the
you don't
laws
need
of
to understand
motion.
all that. All
It's
you need
that
is
simple.
hardcore demonstrations. Get out there in the field.
No, you need to understand trigonometry and the laws of motion.
Yeah, that's
Well, some of these scientists have been compromised by a mind-destroying logic like this. I mean, at this point, they're just pushing
You
an
don't
ideology.
understand the
It
laws
doesn't
of
even
motion
work. It
or
doesn't even.
trigonometry. It's that
It
simple.
doesn't even
Go
go.
learn them, and it
It's
will
just.
make sense to you.
It's just
Well, we
theory.
understand how
It's
a
theory
ball
that doesn't
works.
match
No, go
reality.
learn
That's
the
the
laws of
problem.
motion
The laws of a
and
ball, any
trigonometry.
size ball, whether it be a marble,
See, Spurkismo came in here on purpose and
size
did
of
this.
Jupiter, everything works the
He
same.
does this at every hangout.
The principle works the same on any
Go
size
learn
ball.
trigonometry
Any
and the
ball.
laws of motion. It's that simple.
I'm going to trust my own perspective because some of these science have been compromised, frankly.
Go
You
ahead.
don't know
So
what
I'm going to trust my own
perspective
perspective.
That doesn't
means
win an
until you
argument,
learn
so you
trigonometry
forfeit
and the
this
laws of
argument.
motion.
Just remember, guys, if they can't show you anything, they're just talking words.
Just
simple
go
words.
learn trigonometry,
What can you show
Spurs,
us, Spurs?
and the
Spurkismo's
laws
been
of
shown
motion.
this many
Basic
times.
geometry for flat earthers.
What can you show, Spurs?
Flat
Oranges.
Earth
What can
will
you
go out
show?
their way to demonstrate, prove
Huh?
that
What
we're
can
a
you tell us,
motionless
is in
flat
the
Earth.
way.
What can you
All
show us?
Earthers
Our
just tell us
point is the
this
distance
should be this,
between the
this should be
observer.
that, and our calculation
Why
should
Oh
do
my
you wreck
God.
that this
yourself in
should
your
be
own
this.
argument,
You were asked
Spurs?
about the
Ears are
bulge.
Why
How
do you
do you know
constantly
about
wreck
the bulge?
yourself, Spurs?
Herb said,
Spurs
Calculation
is like
is a
David,
word
but
that
with
not good enough.
Spursimo uses
vocabulary.
because he thinks it sounds good.
well, at the end of the day, demonstration wins the day. Okay.
Red showed
Yeah,
you
so
this.
go
Red
learn
showed you this.
trigonometry and
Demonstrate
demonstrate
something, Spurs.
how what I'm seeing
Gino
isn't what I'm
Straver's shown you
seeing.
this.
Go learn the laws of motion and demonstrate to me how I'm seeing isn't what I'm seeing, because that's what you're telling me. And I understand trigonometry and the laws of motion. So you sound stupid every time you open your mouth.
Well, again, that's
I
not
don't
going
Gino
to
think
Straver
fine.
showed you
of
this.
being
You
as
know he's
stupid
doing
as
this.
Spurs.
Nothing is being demonstrated. We want to see why we see more
What are you
land. Very
demonstrating,
simple.
Spurs?
You don't understand the laws of motion or trigonometry. Those two things will correct all of your misunderstandings.
And I think we've converted paper because he was just explaining something. He was awfully quiet now,
Yeah,
and he's just realised something. It's like it's just dawned on him that obviously you can't go higher,
Spurs,
more land.
Spurs,
hilarious, Spurs.
I'm happy to listen to paper. I'm just,
Well,
reiterating
like
those
he-
2 points
and he
because
just
they still
dropped.
stand.
Are you wearing a cheerleader
It's
shirt?
only for
No,
a
look,
period
paper
of
just tried to
time.
demonstrate something, which is why you guys are afraid of doing. You guys are afraid of demonstrate because you fall on your face every time.
Well, no.
About
Gino
2
Straver
minutes
showed you
left,
this.
just so you know, about 2 minutes
You're
left, guys.
consistently incorrect in what you demonstrate.
He doesn't demonstrate anything except his own ignorance and stupidity.
Right. If he understood the
Well,
laws of
that's
motion
why
and
we have to give-
trigonometry, he might have a good demonstration, but he doesn't. So his
You're no
demonstrations
better.
Well, that's the point.
You're no
That's
better,
the
Orm.
point. You give
You're no
people the
better.
tools of discernment so that they can figure it out on their own. That way, they don't have to be indoctrinated by
You
a
think-
cleric from the cult of science.
You
Yeah,
think
but
I mean,
you
it gives
gotta
them the discernment, and if they come at a different conclusion,
cleric?
then they're
Make a
just
lot
using
of-
their head.
A
Give
cleric?
them the tools to figure it out on their own. That way, they don't have to be
Yeah,
taught
they
anything or
have those
indoctrinated.
tools. It's called trigonometry and the laws of motion. You can find the
Right,
laws of
that's
motion in a physics
exactly right.
textbook, and you can find trigonometry in a trigonometry textbook. If you don't understand trigonometry,
Okay.
take geometry. If you don't understand geometry, take algebra 1 and 2.
I think I will.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You do that.
You'll be one of the first.
You know, and this is the problem. You
I'm sure I
guys,
won't be the first.
you guys need to just seriously look at what you've been taught.
No, Spurs, the problem is we tell
matching
you,
reality.
here are the things you need to learn in order to understand what you're looking at, and you don't do it. That's the
And you don't
problem.
do it.
But this is why
Gino
we were here because we were. I don't know if we were like not so sure about if what we were believing. Like, could it be real? That these
No,
guys could
you
lie to
don't
us,
know
right? So we
what
came
trigonometry
to, we
is
came
or
to
the laws of
discuss-
motion are. That's your problem. It's not an issue of we
Oh.
aren't sure what you're saying. We are. We're absolutely sure of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I
You
think
are
you
not
know,
sure
too,
of
'cause Gino
trigonometry
But
or
that's
the
ad
laws of motion.
hominem. You need to address his issues if you want to talk about the
We're
truth.
not
You're talking about him,
psychologists.
which is an ad hominem. You need to take apart his argument. If you're not doing that, that's ad
Doesn't
hominem.
have any argument.
And with that, I'm going to first and foremost say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the live audience for sharing this show and being here on this epic debate. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to all of the panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.